Welcome everybody to the Tinfoil Hat Man podcast, where the only thing stupider than the conspiracies are the host. I'm your host, Christian, and with me as always are my co-host,
Jesse,
Noah.
and we have an excellent selection of conspiracies for you today. Starting with the moon not only being hollow, but also an alien spaceship, some of the conspiracies surrounding Bohemian Grove, and finally the true location of the Ark of the Covenant.
And remember, folks, we strongly believe in every conspiracy we talk about and support every claim they make 100%. And without further ado, let's put on our tinfoil hats and begin.
So, let's begin with the hollow moon theory. Billions of years ago, the moon was created by what we know as aliens. This is proven by the moon not making any sense at all. Its existence doesn't make sense. Theorists claim scientists don't understand the moon completely, so aliens are the only plausible explanation for the moon. The moon is just too big. It should not be that big. The moon should only be about 40 miles in diameter, but is actually 2,000, which is weird. This shows that it must have been artificially made. We can conclude it's hollow because when we landed on it, it made a noise like a bell. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but bells are actually hollow on the inside. Yeah. And the moon is just too coincidentally perfect for it to be anything but an alien spaceship. But now you may be asking, what's the purpose of the moon? Well, the purpose of the moon is so the aliens can spy on us and eventually control us all. Theorists believe inside the moon are engines, control rooms, cabins, and power plants of ancient spaceships. In their book, this is a quote from a book by Vassin and Skrbovac, they claimed the moon is a very ancient spaceship, the interior of which was filled with fuel for engines, materials, and appliances for repair, work, navigation, instruments, observation equipment, and all manner of machinery. In other words, everything necessary to enable this caravel of the universe, to serve as a kind of Noah's Ark of intelligence, perhaps even as the home of a whole civilization. There are believed to be many rows of tanks housing every missing person known to man inside the moon. The aliens are likely cloning these people to create fake people, which is scary. Many theorists even believe Hitler's body is on the moon and also being cloned to reenact a kind of World War III situation. They will use Hitler as a vessel to take over Earth. The movie Moonfall is believed by some to actually be an accurate future. Moonfall is about the moon being a spaceship and its plan is to crash into Earth and wipe out our civilization. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I 100% believe in this theory. How about y'all?
I think this theory is very plausible, very scientific, and very reasonable. However, the only thing I disagree with is Hitler using the moon as a vessel to take over Earth. I actually believe in the Agartha theory of Hitler that he lives in the hollow Earth, not the hollow moon.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. He is definitely not in the moon. He is inside of Earth right now.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm just going to point out is that you said that there's a book by Vossen and Skrbovac, and I just want to say this. Skrbovac definitely sounds German, and I believe everything that I hear from somebody with a German accent. So
Yeah,
I mean,
anyone German is believable.
Their names sound very scientific, so they have to be
That
plausible.
is true also, yeah. Kind of like a Bill
Skrbovac.
Nye.
Kind of
Yeah.
like a Spock. Like Spock
Oh,
is
yeah.
very scientific. I would
Oh
believe
yeah,
somebody named
Skrbovac
Spock.
Spock. Yeah, Skrbovac sounds like he's won the Nobel Peace Prize, so I definitely believe him.
He probably has. For this theory.
Probably.
I think that theory is very plausible.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Bohemian Grove conspiracy theory. For anybody who doesn't know what Bohemian Grove is, it's a secret society that meets in California, specifically Monte Rio. This is a real secret society that meets. It is not a secret. It is actually very public that this happens. But what happens inside of the secret society is not public and is very secretive. Alex Jones actually at one point tried to sneak into Bohemian Grove and record one of their pagan rituals, and this ritual was called the cremation of care, and it was extremely creepy. Essentially, they sacrificed an effigy of a child under a 40-foot owl statue as initiation for their 2 weeks of meeting. And presidents have visited here, like Reagan, Nixon, and the older Bush. They've all visited Bohemian Grove. Uh, so many rituals happen, indescribable rituals. They wear robes while doing them to hide their identities. It's very creepy. And mostly wealthy business leaders and politicians meet. They discuss whatever. No idea what they discuss. Could be world domination. The cremation of care, that ritual is supposed to represent the members letting go of everyday responsibilities. Very interesting that they would do that. It's an all-male club, which is, I suppose, sexist.
That is very sexist.
Very weird that it's an all-male club. They treat it like it's a fraternity, like a college, but I don't think fraternities sacrifice child effigies under 40-foot owl statues. So I'm not
in America.
I'm not sure where the divide starts and ends.
Yeah, and if they did, that would kind of be a big issue. I think that would be like public news.
Yeah, I don't think they'd allow college students to burn child effigies under 40-foot owl statues and
No.
Yeah, that's typically frowned upon.
other weird rituals, some of which I can't talk about on here. You would just have to look them up yourself. And then once you're a part of Bohemian Grove for 40 years, you're given 40 years is a long time. That's double my life. You're given like an old guard status, and you're given tons of privileges, and you're given reserved seating. You're pretty much invited to every single time after that point. It's a very interesting society. I mean, there are tons of secret societies like the Freemasons and other such groups, but Bohemian Grove takes it another step where they do so many weird rituals, and they're super secretive. Also, not to mention this society has been meeting for almost 170 years or so, ever since the 1890s. How do you guys feel about Bohemian Grove? Do you guys think it's plausible that they're plotting world domination?
100%. Alex Jones wouldn't lie. He's a very trustworthy man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing about Alex Jones that I'm gonna say is, the Bohemian Grove people, they need to up their security because Alex Jones, I just looked it up. This man is 5'10", and he admitted that he's 240 pounds. How are you gonna let a 5'10", 240-pound man spy on you? He's not small. I mean,
They're
if you're
gonna
gonna
get some
plot,
big bodyguards.
yeah, if you're gonna plot world domination, at least have some security.
Of
I mean, like
course.
that's just the least you can do.
I don't know. I'd be fearful of Alex Jones. He's the ultimate truth teller. So if I
Yeah.
were the secret society of Bohemian Grove, I'd fear him.
Yeah, he's like Batman.
He is like Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex Jones, definitely Batman. All right. Are we good with moving on to our next one?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. This next one is about the Ark of the Covenant and its true location. So, a little background. So, in the Bible, it tells about how during the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt, Moses went atop Mount Sinai, and God gave him the 2 stone tablets that held the 10 Commandments. And when Moses came back down, after a bunch of hoopla where the people were worshiping a gold statue of a calf, he set the people straight, and he ordered the head artisan, the name is slipping my mind at the moment, to make a place to keep the stone tablets, the 10 Commandments. This thing was made of acacia wood, and it was covered in gold. It was 2.5 cubits in length, 1.5 cubits breadth, and 1.5 cubits height. in inches, that's 51 by 31 by 31. And so it was gilded entirely in gold, and the lid, also known as a capret, was also gold, and it had 2 cherubim. And so I would recommend people go out and look up what biblically accurate angels look like, and cherubims are one of them. And they are very, very creepy. If they were not angels, they would be demons. So a cherubim is an angel that has 2 pairs of wings and 4 faces. It has a lion face, an ox face, a human face, and an eagle face. That is the stuff of nightmares. That is just terrifying, in my opinion. But those were on the lid of the ark. And so the story goes that, so we know the ark is in Jerusalem for a very, very long time. So King Solomon is the son of King David. David and Solomon were the second and third king of Israel. David was technically the first, but I say he's the second and the third kings of Israel. And they both wrote the book of Psalms. If anybody out there reads the Bible, they were the 2 people who primarily wrote the book of Psalms. So the Egyptian emperor named Menelik claims that he is the son of King Solomon, and his mother is the Queen of Sheba. We don't know her name. She's simply referred to as Queen of Sheba. And so the Ethiopians say that Menelik went to Jerusalem to visit his father when he was in his 20s, and Solomon was like, "Son, I gift to you the most holy artifact we have, the Ark of the Covenant." And Menelik is like, "Wow, this is so cool." And he takes it back to Aksum, which is the ancient capital of Ethiopia. There are also some stories saying that Solomon tried to take it back, but when Solomon tried to take it back, the ark actually had power, and the ark prevented Solomon from taking it back. We don't know how. I assume something along the lines of Solomon using an army and the ark destroying the army, which is something that is reported in the Bible, that the ark could literally bring down cities. That happened with Jericho, for anybody who reads the Bible. So the Ethiopians believe that Solomon gave Menelik the ark, and they say that it is now held in a church in Aksum called Our Lady St. Mary of Zion. And this is a church in Aksum. So first off, there are monks that are guarding this church and the Ark of the Covenant. These monks, they are virgin, and they are Ethiopian Orthodox Christian. And after these monks are appointed, they have a life expectancy of about 3 years. And nobody knows what kills them. Obviously, it's in Ethiopia. They don't have the kind of healthcare that we have in America, so there aren't really autopsies performed. But it's kind of odd that all these people who are charged with protecting the Ark are dying after 3 years. And a lot of them actually get cataracts, and I'm going to come back to the cataracts thing here in a minute. Graham Hancock, who, for people who don't know, Graham Hancock is kind of a pseudo-archaeologist, but he said that one time he talked to one of the monks, and the monk told Graham Hancock, quote, "The ark is a thing of fire." So if you remember, if anybody watched Indiana Jones, when they opened up the thing, you guys know what I'm talking about, when they when all the stuff came out and the weird ghosts.
Yeah.
Christian,
Mhm.
Jesse, you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So there's a theory that what the Ethiopians have is actually very highly radioactive, and it's making these guards die in 3 years, and it's giving them cataracts because radiation can actually cause cataracts. But that's kind of a different thing. So what is the proof that the Ethiopians actually have the Ark of the Covenant? There's no physical evidence. because they don't let anybody see it. Only their high priest and the monks actually can see it. Pardon me, I just burped. And so the only thing to support this is the Babylonians' sacking of Jerusalem. The Babylonians, they were big bureaucrats, and they recorded everything. And when they sacked Jerusalem, and when they did sack Jerusalem, this is many years after Solomon and after Menelik. When they sacked Jerusalem, they took a bunch of stuff. That's typically what an army does when you sack a city. And they took a bunch of stuff and they recorded it all. And what was not recorded was the Ark of the Covenant. And the Babylonians, they recorded everything. So why wouldn't they record that they took the Ark of the Covenant? And so really the only logical explanation would be they didn't take the Ark of the Covenant because it's not there in Jerusalem. And another big thing to support this is that the Ethiopians and their Christian faith, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, they venerate the Ark of the Covenant like nobody else. Every single Ethiopian church has a replica of the Ark of the Covenant and a replica of the Ten Commandments. And actually, if somebody removes the Ark of the Covenant and the Ten Commandments, it's actually no longer considered a church. It's just a building with nothing in it. That's a real thing. And so that is the big theory, that the Ark of the Covenant is actually in Ethiopia. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
I think it's incredibly interesting, and I think Graham Hancock, he should be trusted. I don't really see a reason not to.
Yeah, honestly. Like Graham Hancock, his documentary definitely has zero scientific falsehoods in there.
Exactly. Go ahead, Christian.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually believe this one, only because I believe in the Indiana Jones theory and that it is actually at Area 51.
Ooh, that could be true. I
Yeah.
could see the U.S. taking the Ark of the
Yeah, we
Covenant
definitely have it.
and using
We're
Ethiopia
just that
as a
powerful.
scapegoat.
That's what I'm
I could see
thinking,
that.
yeah.
Or what about the other theory that perhaps the Vatican has it?
Maybe there's multiple Ark of the Covenants.
Possibly.
Well, biblically, it says that there's only one, so...
But non-biblically, it doesn't say that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Non-biblically, it doesn't say that. That's a good point.
I think it's an incredibly interesting theory. I'd like to see some more backing on it.
Maybe
And
we
I'd
could
like
get
to, I'd like
Alex
to see some
Jones.
area. Maybe Alex Jones, yeah.
Get him to sneak in, and we
He's
could see if
pretty
it's
good
there.
at sneaking into
Yeah,
places.
he's pretty good at
apparently.
that.
I think he could.
Alex Jones, this is a formal invitation for you to come on our podcast and talk to us about the Ark of the Covenant and Bohemian Grove and the Moon and go do some research for us. So Alex Jones, if you're listening, come on, bro.
I would love to hear Alex Jones's research on the Ark of the Covenant. I think that'd be incredibly interesting.
Yeah, I think he'd say something along the lines of, like, well, I think the Ethiopians have the Ark of the Covenant. That's what I think he'd probably say.
Wow, that sounded just like him.
Very insightful.
That was a really good impression.
Yeah, I thought he was on the podcast for a second.
Honestly.
It scared me.
I thought he was in my room. I freaked out for a minute thinking he broke into my house. So I think that was our last conspiracy theory for this podcast. So if there's nothing else, that is all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's very sad. So we're gonna take off our tinfoil hats. Let's just pop those things off.
Take them off real quick.
Set it on my desk.
I think this is going to be taken down by the government, and if you listeners don't hear from us soon, we have either been taken inside the moon with Hitler, or much worse.
And thank you to everybody for listening to the Tinfoil Hatman podcast with us today. And as always, if at least one person believes it, it is most likely true. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.